What I love about the song is that it is not, I think, what anyone would expect from me. I think people are so used to hearing me sing big ballads and love songs and use the whole range of my voice. But I think there's something to that sort of repetitive, rhythmic, sort of simple melody in that it feels a little bit like a lullaby. It's more about the lyric than it is the tune. And actually all of the tune is going on in the background. And I kind of love that. I think people see me as a really confident person all the time, but nobody really knows the journey that it's taken to get there, and actually the ongoing journey that happens all the time. This is like my life in real time. Like, I go to therapy and my therapist is saying, hey, you're not very good at accepting help, so we have to figure that out. I just wanted to be really honest about my humanity. I feel like if I can share that, then other people won't feel so afraid of sharing what they feel too, you know what I mean? And it's about constant growth. As a human being, I want to keep growing. I want to keep trying to be better. You know, you write about love and you write about all those things, but this sort of like came to me. It was really clear that this is what I wanted to write about, trying to be a human that is trying to grow. So when I hear the lyric or feel the lyric, immediately the best thing for me to do is just write it down. I still write in script. I still scribble. I mean, it's all lyrics. It's all, you know, that for me is the best way to get my ideas down. I think there's something about holding a pen and seeing the words leave my fingers and into the ink and onto the page that you can see the thought process. I could never have imagined you would fall in love with me, and I can't convince myself that you would never want to leave. It's the idea that you don't feel like you deserve to be loved by a person or anyone in general, to be honest. And so in feeling that, you also, when someone does love you or when people do love you, you also are fighting the idea that they might leave. Daddy trauma has emasculated all my common sense, so I'm looking through the lens of an impending abandonment. I literally have that in my life. My dad abandoned me, and in it sort of, you can't help but those big moments affect the way you see the world. And so for a long time, it always felt like a person is gonna leave. That's what this first verse is about, the beginning of how the rest of the thought process comes about. It starts with abandonment. It starts with feeling like people are going to leave you. It starts with feeling like you're not good enough to be loved. It starts with that. All the voices in my head say I'm not worth the time you spend, so I search for an escape before you notice your mistake. Writing and music is completely a form of therapy for me. I feel like using writing, using music, and even singing, to be honest, when they aren't necessarily my songs, gives me a place to put some of the feelings and thoughts that I haven't necessarily been able to process out loud. It's like an exorcism. You like get rid of the thoughts and you allow yourself to be honest about what you're actually feeling and thinking. I wish that I could say, oh, this mess might go away. I'm a constant work in progress, and I can't keep fears at bay. And my mind is like a record set up on auto replay, 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 replay. And my mind is like a record set up on auto replay. I wanted to liken the way we hear music to the way our minds work. It does play on a record. Like the thoughts that you have, if you don't tend to them, will keep going around and around and around. And when you look at a record, when you listen to music, that if you don't take them off the record player, they'll just keep going around and around. But what I'm saying is that sometimes we find it hard to turn the record off. It just plays. I've been guilty of the hero complex, lend a helping hand, and I'm realizing now that I've made my own quicksand. And my therapist has told me I'm not any good with help. I'm lost with independence. I can only blame myself. I always want to be the person that can take care of everybody. I always want to be the person that's like in charge and in control and can do everything. I was talking about there are so many of us that if that is taken away, if you are no longer the person that has to take care of everything, then are you surplus to requirements? Are you still good enough without taking care of everybody and being the person that helps all the time and being the person that's like standing, who turns up just in time and is good enough to help? There's a fear that if my cape is taking what use am I then? I'm afraid of being lonely, I can hardly comprehend. I also am an avid fan of like superheroes and comics. I loved the idea that those two things could go together. You know, Superman's cape, you take that off. Now, is he Superman or is he just Clark Kent? And does it matter if he's just Clark Kent? Isn't Clark Kent good enough without being a superhero and being Superman? And that's what I felt. And so I feel like being a person who wants to help is partially like wanting to be a hero, wanting to always help, wanting to always be the person that saves the day. But if you take away the superpower of being able to help everyone all the time, are you still special? The answer has to be yes, because you have to want people to love you for more than the things you can do. You have to want people to love you for who you are, not what you can do. I'm the best overachiever, there's not anyone like me. And you think that was a good thing till you're told that's not healthy. You spend every waking hour working hard to write your will, patiently waiting for validation till you're empty and unfulfilled. If you've achieved, then you've achieved. Now the overachieving is for what? Is it for you? Do you want to validate yourself? Or is it for everyone else to say, look at how much this person's done, look how much you've done? Achievement is one thing, but overachieving is something else. It's like pushing to the very nth degree. And a lot of us do that. But it means that if we don't achieve, that becomes such a hard thing to deal with. It becomes such a big fall from achieving. And that isn't healthy at all. Really and truly, failures should be just things that give us the room to learn and try again. I wish that I could say all these feelings go away. I'm a constant work in progress and I can't keep fears at bay. And my mind is like a record set up on auto replay. I wish that I could say all this mess might go away. Changes to, I wish that I could say all these feelings go away, because mess suggests that all of those things are bad. Feelings changes it to just personal stuff that you have. Feelings aren't bad. Feelings are just human. It becomes a less removed thing and more personal when you change it from mess to feelings. Now they're not just inanimate objects that are separate from yourself. They become personal things that you experience. Yeah. Intentional. Very. Whether we like it or not, helping and being the person who saves the day and being a person who can be relied on is something you can do as opposed to someone who you are. If you're a kind person who happens to be funny and is just, sweet, that's who you are, as opposed to the person who's so good at helping everybody with everyone's problems or whatever that might be. That's something you can do. If you were just a person who just is good to be around, that should be enough.